Large chunks of ice rammed into homes along Michigan's Black Lake in the northeastern Lower Peninsula as constant spring rainfall and winter melt left many homes flooded and threatened to overflow stressed dam systems. Photos and video posted to social media Wednesday showed ice sitting inside living rooms after it busted through windows and doors. Homes, garages, and sheds could also be seen surrounded by several feet of muddy brown river and lake water. Spring rains and winter snowmelt have swelled rivers and lakes, forcing torrents of water through Cheboygan County communities on its way to Lake Huron. Black Lake, Black River, Cheboygan River, Burt Lake, Mullet Lake, the Sturgeon River, and nearly every waterway in the county have overflowed beyond their banks, swallowing docks, roads, yards, and in far too many cases, homes. The Cheboygan County Sheriff's Office told residents last week on its Facebook page.
More to pray for.
What should be familiar shorelines are now unrecognizable expanses of water. Homes along Black Lake's west side were evacuated over the weekend, according to the Sheriff's Office. These are ice sheets. They're massive, said Christopher Narcisian, who took photos and video of the damage. They're mini glaciers, if you will. They just run down everything in their path. Nothing can stop that kind of weight. State and county officials are working to keep debris and ice from clogging the Cheboygan Lock and Dam complex to allow water to flow onto Lake Huron. If water levels were normal, lake ice would just break up in place as it melts, according to Patrick Back, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Gaylord, Michigan. The ice on Black Lake, more than likely, was pushed ashore by the wind, he added. The fact that the water was so high, the ice had more room to travel, Back said. Ice chunks were also moving through nearby Mullet Lake. Both lakes feed into the Cheboygan River, with water flowing through the Cheboygan Dam. We've managed a little bit of ice issues on Mullet Lake, said Patrick Ertel, a spokesman for the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Incident Management Team. Last week, crews added pumps, and power was restored to an old hydroelectric station to increase water flow through the dam. Cranes also were used to remove gates that hold back water. A large chunk of ice snapped the safety cable at the Cheboygan Lock and Dam complex on April 9th, forcing the Natural Resources Department to close access points upstream and downstream of the dam. We can't have large chunks of ice flowing down blocking up the gates, Ertel said. 2 marine vessels are kind of breaking up the chunks on the Cheboygan River. The more water we can safely pass at the Cheboygan Dam, the faster we can bring relief to Mullet Lake. It's going as fast as it can. It is purely driven by gravity. The smaller Alverno Dam is between Black Lake and the Cheboygan River. Ice from Black Lake is not going to make it down to the Cheboygan River. It will be held up, Ertel said. Governor Gretchen Whitmer has declared a state of emergency in Cheboygan and more than 30 other Michigan counties due to flooding and other severe weather this month. Narcisian lives near Cheboygan and grew up along Black Lake. Slabs of ice, which he described as a several-mile-wide sheet, continue to float in the lake. He said the ice is smashing into homes and taking them out, just leveling them. He said some ice was pushed as high as rooftops. We've never seen it that high, Narcisian said. Typically, the ice would just come over the break walls in front of houses like a couple of feet. People's homes don't typically flood. The ice just melts. Water is receding, but Narcisian said levels are still high and the ice still is out there. As long as the wind doesn't pick up and move that around again, we should be okay, he said. If that ice does come back, it's going to do more damage. It's the aftermath that concerns him most for the community where it's all friends and family, and everybody knows everyone, Narcisian said. Most people don't have any help. Coverage, he added. Flood insurance was never necessary. No one's ever seen this here. It's a lot. Flooding driven by snowmelt and recent rainfall affected multiple areas across northern Michigan in mid-April 2026, with water entering homes and prompting evacuation advisories in low-lying shoreline zones. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer declared a state of emergency for the Cheboygan Lock and Dam complex as the State Emergency Operations Center was activated statewide on April 14th. A small dam in Alcona County failed, and seepage was detected at the Bel Air Dam, raising concerns about downstream communities. Rising water levels allowed late-season lake ice to become mobile under strong winds, leading to reports of ice shoves across several lakes in the region. The ice moved into residential areas, adding stress to shoreline structures. And while fully verified impacts remain limited, the phenomenon has been confirmed within Cheboygan County, Michigan, and along Lake Superior near Ashland and Washburn, Wisconsin. On Mullet Lake in Cheboygan County, ice moved onto shore and into residential structures with little warning, destroying decks, exterior fixtures, and outbuildings. Jennifer Wallinger, who grew up on the lake, told Up North Live the ice arrived within 4 minutes and demolished her mother's gazebo and deck before pressing against the foundation and chimney. "If it comes in again tonight, the house is going to be devastated," she said.
Oh man, that's so
The mechanism behind ice shoves is straightforward. As spring warmth weakens ice integrity, a sustained wind event can push entire ice sheets inland. In this case, unusually high water levels eliminated much of the natural resistance that shoreline topography normally provides, allowing ice to travel further inland and at greater speed than typical spring conditions would permit, making the event particularly destructive.
I know this house.
The same phenomenon was recorded in Washburn and at other locations along Lake Superior during the same period. Floodwaters in the Black Lake area of Michigan's northern Lower Peninsula continue to recede, although some cottage properties remain submerged and now face additional danger from floating ice chunks. In Grant Township, which covers the northwest portion of Black Lake, Township Supervisor Gil Archambault said on Tuesday, April 21st, that the water level near his lakefront house is down more than 6.5 inches from its peak of last Thursday or Friday. "It's really going in the correct direction now," he said in a phone interview. Archambault said he and his wife were able to return to their house on Monday after having evacuated last week to a motel in the Indian River area. However, a significant number of other houses and yards in the township remain flooded, he said, and the majority of flood evacuees have yet to return home. And most roads that closed due to flooding have yet to reopen. Black Lake cottages are also now dealing with the hazard of wind-blown ice chunks, he said, which have reportedly been coming ashore and damaging properties' walls and windows. "I did some investigating yesterday, and there is probably a piece out there that's in the south end of the lake that's probably 5 square miles big. It's a big chunk, and it's just floating around out there," Archambault said. "As soon as the wind blows, in whichever direction it goes, it's coming to shore." In fact, Archambault said that his own brother was awakened Tuesday to discover that during the night, a chunk of ice rammed his property and damaged the stairs and railings of his porch. His brother's house is on the west shore of the lake. "The ice is starting to do some serious damage," Archambault said. The Indian River area has also dealt with flooding. Archambault said the water level at an Indian River cottage he owns was actually up by 1/2 an inch as of Tuesday morning. The cottage is now surrounded by water, he said, but is still dry inside.
Major flooding down here.
Meanwhile, some northern Michigan homeowners are picking up the pieces and making insurance claims following last week's devastating weather and flooding. Home insurance experts are encouraging people to reach out to their policy providers as soon as possible and to document with pictures throughout the property. Brian Burley, president of Insurance by Burley, says that home insurance is limited and does not automatically cover flooding from an external source. Groundwater incursion is not covered on a standard homeowner's policy. Only a separate flood policy covers damage from water coming in from outside the house, he said. When people call and report water coming into the house from outside and don't have flood insurance, we sometimes have to deliver disappointing news. Flood insurance can be purchased through the federal government or private providers. Any new plans won't go into effect until 30 days after purchase. Burley says that for those with policies, it's up to homeowners themselves to ensure that the ball gets rolling on any claims or repairs that need to be done. It's ultimately the policyholder's responsibility to arrange for any work that needs to be done, he said. Insurance companies don't do the work, or don't even arrange to have it done. It's up to you to, and then you'll be reimbursed by your policy. Mark McKellar is a homeowner in the Mayfield area who dealt with flooding on his property last week. He had to evacuate due to flooding on the Boardman River, which reached record heights.
Looks like it made it, obviously.
The morning of the flood, The major flood. It was like a flash flood, he said. I woke up. Something had hit the house. It wasn't anything like a log or anything. It actually was a water surge, and it slammed the east side of my house. McKellar says that he is insured, both with home insurance and separate flood insurance. He's now encouraging others to be proactive in making sure their homes remain in good condition. I contacted my agent immediately and filed the claim, he said. Then from that point, the agent contacted my carrier, and they immediately contacted me by email, told me exactly what I needed to do. I did that. Those who didn't have insurance don't have official options for recourse. Community organizations and nonprofits may be able to help, and assistance could come from the state of federal governments, but none of that is guaranteed. Burley also says the demand could contribute to higher insurance rates. Insurance costs are based on the cost of labor, construction materials, and the amount of claims being made by policyholders. We have seen rates increasing over the years, and I don't expect that trend to reverse, he said. When there's inflation in those numbers and claims get more expensive to resolve, then premiums have to go up to keep the risk pool healthy. Meanwhile, Indian River Chamber of Commerce Executive Director Vicki Morgan said approximately 200 homes in the area were damaged by the flooding, a number that underscores the scope of what communities upstream of Cheboygan Dam are now facing. With area hotels already beginning to shift their focus toward the summer tourism season, displaced residents may find themselves competing for a shrinking pool of affordable overnight options as repairs drag on. The strain is already visible along the river. James Wilson, a Sturgeon River resident, returned this week to a home that took on nearly 3 feet of water. He evacuated on April 13th with the waters rising behind him. What greeted him was a gut-down in progress. Flooring ripped up, walls broken open, everything staged for mold remediation before rebuilding could begin. My fridge was definitely floating at one point. I've never seen a fridge float, Wilson said. All our appliances are gone. Everything was mostly lost. Wilson said he carried flood insurance, a rarity among his neighbors. Many residents along the Sturgeon, he said, either could not obtain coverage or had not considered it necessary. Few had ever seen the river reach this level. The majority of the people around here, they can't even get it, or they don't have it, Wilson said. Wilson described water moving through the area with force, fast enough to reshape the contour of the ground and deep enough that he was wading through waist-high current when he left. He said the flooding was not on anyone's radar before it happened, and called for a reckoning on water level monitoring infrastructure across the region. You would have thought we learned years ago from Sanford Dam, he said. This wasn't brought up or talked about anywhere.